time once again to slip into your camo, grab your bow, and join us out in the field for another episode of the Up North Journal, presented by PSE Archery. The Up North Journal crew is knocked and ready to rock for another exciting adventure, so let's step outside and hit the trail.
This episode of the Up North Journal podcast is brought to you by PSE Archery,
Buck Baits,
Better the Hunt,
Rebel 6 Rubs and Seasonings,
Easy Cut,
Limb Walker Game Calls,
Sunrise Archery,
Total Peep,
Hunter's Blend Coffee,
Packer Max,
Fourth Arrow Camera Arms,
Scent Blocker,
Scent Lock,
Copper John,
and Stanislawski Release Aids. Welcome back to another episode of the Up North Journal, everybody. Host Mike Adams back in the cabin after a week off with Dan DeFall, sitting here on a Sunday afternoon. Fall has arrived. There's a little cool Christmas in the air. It's almost like an old friend that walks up to you for the first time and shakes your hand and says, "Good to be back."
Let's say fall's in the air, not Christmas.
I didn't say Christmas.
Yes, you did.
No, what was I trying to say? After I said it, I said that sounds like Christmas, but it wasn't.
Oh, okay.
Wasn't Christmas.
Crispness?
Crispness. That's what it was.
Okay,
Yeah, crispness.
Okay.
Crispness.
Crispness.
So.
All right.
But yeah, it's just like a good old friend comes up and shakes your hand and says, "Man, I hadn't seen you in a year. How you been?"
Got my cousin Cheryl on.
All right.
She's the one that works at Cabell.
Yeah, Cabela's down in Chesterfield, right?
Yeah.
All right. We went by there yesterday.
Daniel Burns, 2 weeks till Nevin hunts our way.
All right. Keep us posted on what's going on down there with that as well, my friend.
That's right.
So while we're at it here, let's kick this thing off tonight with telling the good people about the good people who help us.
If you could help us all, help our supporters by going over to their website, checking them out, we can help you out a little bit as well. Rebel 6. It's that season. Any time is good to have a barbecue or even inside. And you want to go over to Rebel 6 Rubs and check out their line of rubs that they got. And we know they're working on some new ones.
Yeah, we talked about that a couple weeks ago.
Yes, we did. If you go over there, use the promo code NorthJournal, you'll get 20% off your order. And you know, guys and gals, we're seeing it. Youth season's kicking off. Wisconsin's kicking off. Go over to Buck Baits. We had them on 2 weeks ago, matter of fact, which everybody's going to send us pictures of this venison stuff, and everybody's going to try it, right?
We've been hearing about it.
Right.
Everybody's getting that recipe, and they're ready to check it out and try it out. So
absolutely. Get over to buckbaits.com. You can get 20% off your order. Use the promo code UpNorthJournal.
There you go.
And last but not least, we're drinking it right now. He's talking about how hot it is. A Hunter's Blend Coffee. Get 10% off your order when you check out there using the promo code capital UNJ.
Right there. You see it right there below my finger. Capital UNJ. Use that. Save yourself 10%. And I hit the wrong button. We disappeared.
What?
Well, there we are. We're
okay.
back. It's been 2 weeks, man. I hit the wrong thing.
Right?
You know, a little out of practice. So.
Tim Cius down in.
Did you see Tim's new call that he just whipped up? The two-sided call.
Yes, I did.
Tim, shout out, man. I'm very intrigued in that, and great backstory. We got to get you on the show and talk about that, because that looks like a nice piece of turkey tool that we want to use in the wood. Turkey tool that we use in the wood. So
I'd like to run it against a couple of competitors we know and see how it sounds.
Absolutely. I want to hear Tim run it.
Well, we know Tim can take a piece of wood and a piece of slate from the ground and make everything sound
right.
good.
Hey, Mark Coleman, what's going on? Glad you're in the house tonight.
Next, what do we got here?
Eric Ernest, hey, welcome. Welcome to join the show here.
Charles Byram says some special hunts open next in Iowa yesterday, and next weekend Disabled and Youth will open.
And I want to give a special shout out tonight, all the way from my hometown in Haleville, Alabama. We've got Della Frost watching tonight. A friend of my father's down on the farm, down at Adams Dairy Farm, my namesake. So welcome. Thanks for joining in tonight.
And Eric Dabb says next weekend Minnesota season. It sounds
it's
like
that time of year, man.
It's getting that time of year. And, talking about that, a lot of people were posting today about the youth hunt and some Liberty hunters as well. And I don't know if it's because it's 1 week earlier than normal than we've done it here in Michigan, but we are seeing a tremendous amount of velvet bucks.
I noticed that this morning. I was looking on, I believe it was Michigan Deer Hunters, Let Them Go, Let Them Grow. And there was quite a few youth that had some stuff posted that had velveted bucks.
Absolutely. And I tell you what, that's awesome. I mean, there was a couple of velvet bucks that were just, they were spectacular looking. Actually, and I think it was Al Baggett's son I looked at his picture. He got a nice buck, and his antlers looked really red.
Mm-hmm.
So
Probably just scraped.
That's what I was thinking myself. I said, "Wow,
Yeah.
those are really red." So congratulations to him and all the youth hunters and all the Liberty hunters.
Absolutely.
I know Lincoln Roan was out there, and he did a couple live drops, and some of those hunters there did a fantastic job.
That's awesome. Well, where do you want to start tonight? What do you want?
Let's go back and kind of we'll start from Labor Day weekend and we'll work our way up to today.
Okay. Well, my Labor Day weekend was kind of short. I made a quick trip up to deer camp.
How is it looking? You know, I know there was some color.
There's a little bit of color. The ferns are starting to die off.
Isn't
They're
that
turning brown.
Isn't that a great sight?
It's like once you see that, you know the mosquitoes are on their way out, that they're going to be done. There's just a little bit of color starting. Well, we noticed that when we were up shooting tack the week before that, or the weekend before that, I should say.
Right, exactly. And then when like you went up to the northern lower, and I went just a little bit further.
You went a lot further.
Yeah, right. So
I'll wait at UP.
how did the property look? Did you I saw if you're starting to see color, the ferns are dying. Are the geese still there?
The geese are still there, and one of our members was up there this weekend, hopefully hammering the bedevil out of them. So,
how does that work in something like that? Once you start shooting, do they leave or do they actually come back?
it depends. I mean, I've seen some come back through. I mean, we're not trying to burn the roost and shooting them off the roost, off the water, or nothing. But they hit the fields. Morning they hit the field, they come flying in to eat, and in the evening they come in to fly in to eat, and then they hit the water. So,
well, when we were up there, they just kind of walked right up onto the field and said, "Hey, here's our dinner table," and go back, and then come back, and here's our. It's like, I get it.
I didn't see a lot of deer, but what I went up for, I made a quick day trip up to go up and do some mapping. Did some GPS work for our blinds. We're trying to put all of our stuff together on a map so everybody can see, where everything's located on the property. Because now we turned our camp around and we're all sharing the whole area, the whole piece of land together, which has been a big change for our camp. So that was the reason I was there, was to map
that's awesome.
the south end of the property. So. I got that done, and then I had some stuff to take care of back here in town, so I came back.
Yeah, and shout out to my cousin Dennis. He says he can't wait for October family fun up north. That's right, third week of October.
Yeah, I don't know
we're
when
heading
I'm going to
north.
get up there. I'm just kind of playing around with some times. It's going to depend on the weather when I get up there to bow hunt. We'll have to wait and see.
And sadly, the weekend before was one of our cousins was supposed to get married, but they canceled their reception because of
Rona. Yeah, the Rona.
So they postponed it for a year. So we'll enjoy that next year. But hopefully the week after we'll be up north to the UP for a week, and we'll go. I think my brother's going to go with his sister-in-law.
Okay.
Me, my cousin Dennis, Cheryl.
Go
We're
ahead.
gonna have a
family affair.
Hopefully it's a family shoot fest.
There you go.
Unfortunately, we can't shoot does.
Don't get started on that.
I'm not going
That's
to.
a whole show, man, in and of itself tonight.
Right,
man.
which we need to work on. We had that by my brother, having somebody on to show us what is the proper does and what they look like at what age.
Yeah, we still have to do that to try to get that knocked out.
So we'll try to work on that, get that taken care of. But yeah, so when you get up there, like you were up at the property, just getting out in that
It felt so good.
yes,
It
yes.
felt so good to be back out in the field, out in the woods, doing what we do and preparing for the upcoming season. And everything in the last couple of weeks has kind of been that, looking towards the season, pointing towards the season, and getting ready. You were up and you did some work at your place.
Oh, absolutely. I left on Wednesday night. Me and my brother promptly left at between 5 and 6 and beelined it up there and got there at 2 in the morning, which actually, when you're getting there at 2 in the morning and the cabin's all set, is not a bad thing.
Right.
You just roll right in and you do what you got to do. But we had a little bit of rain on Thursday, and after that, it was I could tell they've had a lot of water.
Mm-hmm.
Starting out at the beginning of the road, when you come into our road to our camp, it's a downhill grade.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there was about a 6-inch crevice, a washout
Okay.
from the road down about 3/4 of the way.
Okay.
And there was just a bunch of not cement, gravel there.
Okay.
And I'm like, wow, they had some rain up here.
Right. Yeah, I know. We've got a lot of rain here in Michigan the last couple of weeks.
Right. So I had my cousin Dennis bring the tractor down, graded that out, smoothed that right out. We ended up cutting the grass 3 times because it was just tall.
18 inches deep.
Yeah, it was pretty tall. it was so we cut the grass, got that taken care of, and then we turned our sights on completing a project that I started back in July. I started building another platform to put out. I brought up the rest of the wood, and Thursday night, Kelly and Gabby made it up there, so there was 4 of us. We, you know how you got that fan club just rooting you on to try to do something.
Oh yeah.
So I have a trailer, and the platform fit right on the trailer, across 8 feet wide. And I was like, this is awesome. So we drove it out there, got to where about 50 yards short of where it was the final place was gonna be. And I had went in there with a weed whacker and cut a opening probably about 10 feet wide.
Okay.
And I pull the Ranger with the trailer, and I'm looking at this, and I'm looking at my brother who's sitting next to me, and I've got Kelly and Gabby going, do it, do it, do it, do it. I'm like, you think I can drive this back there?
It's got to get back there somehow.
Well, yeah, we tried. Made it about 10 feet and figured out the stumps were going to get in the way.
Yeah.
So we stopped. We pulled the Ranger up. We put the platform on the back of the Ranger, and Gabby and I and Terry held the platform, had Kelly drive it, and we just walked it back there.
Walked it back, gotcha.
It was a lot easier.
Okay, gotcha.
So we got that out there, and then we proceeded to put that up. And now this is the 3rd one I've built. And boy, it's getting easier every time. You
got it all figured out.
You are learning, and you are learning what to do and what not to do.
Right.
It's like, we're going to do this, this, and this. And we're not going to do that again. Because the first one, my brother went for a surfing ride because we forgot to put the cross supports on. That was a spot. But no. So Friday we were able to finish up, get up the platform into position, get a blind on top of it. So that's all set. Saturday, I pulled the cards too. I pulled the...
and?
I got bears, I got wolves, I got coyotes.
The usual critters?
The usual critters. The biggest buck on camera as of to date is a 6-point.
Okay.
So he's a nice 6-point, not gonna lie.
Maybe they're hiding out and waiting.
So that's what I'm thinking. I was optimistic that I'd see something better, but
still got time.
You know what? And throw the rut in there, and you'll see what happens.
Absolutely.
So got that put in there, and looked at the card, got the platform up, looked at the food plot fields. My cousins, they did a heck of a job with the soybeans. Except the deer are just mowing them down. You can tell everyone got topped. There's this but they still had about 6 inches of growth to them, but you could just tell they were just mowing them down. So they're there.
Yep.
So it was pretty cool. And then what I did with my food plot, I saw a lot of clover in there, so we cut it. We got the lawnmowers out, we cut it, and I took Packer Max with me. And then after I cut it, I rolled it just to press it down to get that whatever seeds came off of the clover that was there back into the ground. And then I just pressed it back in and used the clippings to put it over it so you get that moisture contact with the soil.
Right.
So
just to help hold that moisture in there. Gotcha.
Absolutely. So that was up until Saturday. The rain, it was, like I said, it was beautiful. The weather was cool, so the mosquitoes weren't bad. And then after that, we came home on Sunday afternoon, beat traffic. So that was my Labor Day weekend. I spent Labor Day Monday here catching up laundry.
The usual. Right. No, I got you. All right, well, I'll tell you, we're bumping up here on our first break, so let's take a quick break. We're going to step outside, and we'll be right back after this.
PSE Archery has reinvented the way you buy bows.
From now on, you can make the most educated decision possible
by basing your bow choice specifically on your shooting needs and goals.
All you need to do is ask yourself, what kind of shooter am I? What do I want to achieve?
PSE will help find the right category for you.
So, what kind of shooter are you?
Find out at psearchery.com.
All right, welcome back. Second segment of the show. We're talking a little bit about what's going on up north. In the break there, I told Danny that I'm heading back up this coming weekend. We've got a piece of machinery coming in to our camp, and we're going to be doing some...
Does it burn?
It burns fuel.
Oh.
It's a big cutting head. It's got a big cutter head on it. It's a special machine. We're going to have them come in and do tag altar removal.
Oh, okay,
yeah. It's a big grinder, and I'm going to shoot video of this. We're doing some trade-off. He's going to come in and cut our tag altar down so we can get some good regeneration going. And I'm going to take this video and post it in different places for people to see. So if they're interested in renting said equipment, they can see what they're getting.
Awesome.
So, yeah, doing a little bit of trade back and forth. So
I'm thinking it's like a giant brush hog.
No, it's on the front. Actually, Buck Baits just says, hello from the blind. Back at you, Buck Baits. Nice. Thank you for the
They are out
big
for
shot.
the youth hunt up at the Buck Baits property, and
Right.
I hope they're doing good. I know they got the kids out there, and they are trying to get them. I haven't seen any reports, so I don't know if they've gotten anything yet.
Yeah, as far as I know, they haven't. We've been waiting for a report back from them, so we'll see what happens.
You gotta love when we get conversation going, and now Dan responds to Charles. Is, sometimes life gets in the way.
Ain't that the truth? There's sometimes things get in the way, and you can't get out to hunt or fish or whatever, and there's just nothing you can do about it. If anybody understands right now, it's me, Dan. Believe me, and we'll just leave it at that.
Well, but we did get out for a run, and we'll talk about that later on in the show.
Yeah,
that's a great accomplishment by both of us. So this goes on the front of a tractor.
No, it's a machine.
It's a specifically for this.
Yes. It has
really?
a big mulching head on the front of it. So I don't remember what it's called, but it thing's supposed to be
I
huge.
wish you would remember because we'll hopefully see some of the video because I'm picturing it like you can put them on the front of the.
Actually, Eric, yes,
steer.
yeah, that's exactly what he said. Attachment on a skid steer. Yes, it's a grinding head on a skid steer.
Okay.
But this thing it's not like your normal skid steer. This thing's supposed to be pretty big.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool.
A big, heavy duty one. So.
Wow, really?
Yeah,
You want to make a trip to the UP?
We could. For a certain fee, he probably would go there.
I know, right? That's what I was doing in. I think that was Memorial Day. I was having fun with those tag alters.
So hopefully, I got some video to show.
Absolutely, that'd be awesome to see what that machine does
right
in
on.
a short amount of time.
Right. So
I think I know where you're going with it because I remember us walking through them. So.
Yep.
But that'll be good. Get up there. It's supposed to be a cool week. I'm sure it's going to be cooler up there. So
weather's going to be great. It's supposed to be nice and mild temperature-wise. We're supposed to have no rain, so looking forward to getting back up in the North Country. So
right, exactly. And then for me, North Country, like I said, it will be October now. But if you can get out, well, we can't get out till October 1st. So, but these guys that are fighting over it between Dan Anderson and Charles, and let us know what's going on.
Right, yeah. If you guys are putting deer down early, man, send us some pics, man, so we can be envious of you.
These two guys are going at it like
that's good.
Like two guys in Virginia, I know.
Would that be Tim Sias and Whirlybird?
That would be those two guys that like to go at each other.
So,
but yeah. So no, that's good. Did they say after they grind up the tag alters how long it takes to regen?
Don't know. The problem is our tag alters now. As I hit the mic, for those of you watching, we got tags that are
4 inch,
almost 4 inch in diameter, and obviously by that point the deer can't do anything with them. They're useless. They're covering up other vegetation. Nothing can grow. So we're going to go in, and this machine's going to just mow it down, open up the canopy to sunlight. I mean, these things are 10 feet tall or better.
Because we have these along our trail to get back to our camp, and literally every 2 years, 1 to 2 years, we're having to you look and you go in there and you go, wow, where'd they come from? And then you, like I did this year, you go in with a chainsaw and you cut them out.
Yeah.
And that section will probably be good for 2 years.
Right.
And I'll probably have to go back in, but I already see the next section because they're growing so fast.
Absolutely.
And it's just one of those things. But you're helping the deer though.
Yeah, because they will eat those tender shoots when they come back up.
Absolutely.
So that's what we're doing, improving deer habitat.
That's one of the things, if anybody can do anything to help the deer out, turkeys out, it worked for everybody. That's kind of a cool thing.
All right, so what do you want to talk about next?
So that was last weekend. You and I took Labor Day off, even though it was laborious.
Laborious.
Then we were at the weekend before. We were at
TAC.
The TAC.
Have we talked about that at all? I can't remember.
No, because we had buck baits on.
God, that was a great shoot. If you guys has never shot a TAC event, I'm telling you, you got to get out. And I don't care where you're at in the country. They were supposed to have 15 of them this year, or 14. 14, because 9 got canceled. There was 5 events. They kept Michigan. Got bumped from June to the end of August. And Danny and I's second year we've shot this, and we shot 2 days this year instead of 1 because it's just that much doggone fun.
I tell you what, if
hardest shoot I've ever did.
It was tough. We did 2. They had 4 courses or 5? 4. They had Knock On, Sitka, Leopold, G Prime. So 4. And the little youth.
Yeah, there's 5.
Okay. Anyways, folks, You want a challenge, a fun challenge. This is just all about fun. You can score if you want. They give you a scorecard. If you want to keep it scored, go right ahead. If you don't, no big deal. It is talk about getting camaraderie out there and challenging yourself.
Pushing yourself.
To get taken up a hill on a ski lift and said, okay, work your way back down to the bottom and go from there.
Yeah, and get out there and shoot. And these shots are long. They're tight. You take a dozen arrows with you.
They are anywhere from 20 to 100.
I think the shortest shot we shot was that turkey at 30 yards.
On
28
ours,
yards.
it was, but I think if I remember the numbers, the shortest one was 20, and I think the longest was out 100. I'm just going to round up to 120.
Yeah, it was
everything in between, depending on what.
Yeah, that caribou the second day was at 100 and something teen yards.
Yeah, that was kind of fun. You know what? That shoot this year was, after what we've done in the gym, was just, we did the video from the mountain.
Yep.
But we took the camper up there. We got in on Thursday. We got settled in, which was nice. Just kind of relaxed into it. We knew we had rain coming.
Yeah.
This was okay. I'm not gonna lie. The weatherman was right, because they said anytime after 2:00 it was gonna rain. And 2:05 it started raining.
Yeah, we got soaked at the end of day one. The last 5 targets was wet.
And that was the knock-on course. And the knock-on course this year was you were sent up the hill, which was the knock-on by PSE. And that course was literally up and down, shooting across valleys, shooting up draws. I mean, it was just
6 miles we put on that day.
Exactly.
Up and down mountain.
We put 6 miles on shooting the knock-on course. Like Mike said, we were doing great. We got up, I think we went up 11:30, got up there, we started, met up with 2 young gentlemen and their dad. We hooked up with them. We kind of shot with them a little bit. And but I tell you what, that was some of those, and plus the rain that was there and fog and everything made kind of the slope kind of slippery.
Oh, yeah. You had to watch your step.
Absolutely. You definitely...
Well, the first shot, we walk up on the first shot, and you're shooting downhill across the valley. It was 61 yards to a fallow deer, and there was about a foot gap that you could shoot through the vitals. And the foot gap was not where we were at. It was down at the animal. So you had no room for error.
You pulled a little bit. You had I want to
You
say...
flinched at all. You were busting an arrow.
Yeah, and we actually did pretty good on that.
Yeah.
Trust us, folks. At this shoot, when we hear foam, it's all good.
It's a win, you know.
It is a win. And then you're shooting at a pheasant that was 48 yards out in the middle of the woods.
That's the one I lost an arrow on.
Yep. And
I hit a twig. It was darn near 50-yard shot at a flying pheasant. And yeah, I didn't even try to look for my arrow. I hit that limb and I just seen it go to the right, and I'm like, yeah, I'm done with that.
Yep, exactly. So the knock-on course itself there's 25 targets in each course. We made it to target 20. We were still kind of in the woods, and we could start to hear it rain. The last 4 targets were out in the field, and boy, did we get soaked.
They were on the face of the mountain on the ski hill.
Yep, and we got soaked from our hips down. It was just, and then it got slippery.
Yep,
and it was just. It was fun.
It was fun. It was challenging, very, very challenging.
You know, and that's one of the things, because I was doing okay. My lens was getting a lot of water on it, and you really couldn't stop it. It was just going to happen. We were shooting at boars, rams, lions.
55 yards at a raccoon downhill.
50. You can hit one, but try to hit a badger at 3 yards.
You're right. Yeah, that was yesterday.
The last shot, pouring rain, a jackalope, was 102 yards. Yeah, well, Mike and I, the young kids did it, and the dad, and we said, we're moving up. So we moved up to 60, I think it was.
Yeah, we shot it at 60.
We shot it at 60.
Well, my setup, I was using my hunting setup, and I've got a 20, 30, 40, 50, and 60-yard pin, and my bubble, the top of my bubble is 70 yards. And that we'll talk about that in the second day. So we moved up on the really long ones. I mean, we had that big buck, that mule deer, along the edge of the runway of the airport there at Boyne, and it was just inside, and it was raining that day. That was on the Sitka course.
Yeah, that was Sitka course. That
so we moved up, I think, to 70 or 80 yards, and
we both smoked them.
Yeah,
that was okay. If we had a video, that was our video of the day.
It was the best shot ever.
Yeah, because your arrow actually, you could see the vapor trail because it was pushing the rain aside as it was going through the air.
As it's twisting off the veins, you can see that. You can see the spin of the water coming off the back of the veins.
It was pretty cool. So that that was the knock-on course day one. Soaked. For some reason, I lost my boots. I couldn't find them. Lo and behold, they were in the trailer. They just got pushed under the slide out, I guess. It's like, now I find them when I was home.
It was a great shoot. The second day, we shot the Sitka course, and that was flat and long.
Well, the Sitka course is the one course that's off the mountain, and it's usually pretty tough. But due to COVID, which wasn't running the shuttle,
the shuttle,
they made it flat and long out the backside.
Everything was long.
Oh, geez, old Pete. Well, the first shot was into total darkness at whatever we were trying. It was.
Yeah, we're standing in a field in the sun, and then you shoot into a gap through into this forest, and it was dark, and you had to use binoculars to even see the animal, just to see a silhouette. That was a tough shot.
You're right, Tim. They do exist. Jackalopes do exist, like Daryl does. You're right.
Yeah, at 100 yards.
Right. So, but that course, and in the beginning, it started to rain. And I was all messed up. And some of those shots was tough because it was dark in the woods, and I was having a tough time picking up the target. And a few of those I was zinging arrows left.
Yeah, there was a shot on there. I was trying to remember what it was.
The one cool shot was the stag across the
pond.
The pond.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Oh, 4 of the last 6 shots, 4 in a row, were all 70 plus, like 70 to 74 yards.
Yeah.
And so everybody's shooting them, and here I am. I don't have a 70-yard pin. I'm like, okay, it's bubble time. And then I was just like, please, just hit foam. And I hit all 4 targets, but one of them was 74 yards. It was, I believe, a ram.
Was that the laying down ram?
No, it's the one that had about a 6-inch gap.
Yeah.
We were watching everybody. These 2 guys in front of us on that course were just lights out, smoking everything. And we walked up on them. They're getting ready to shoot, and then one guy blew an arrow up, hit the tree. So, I think one of our guys, I can't remember who, didn't one of them blow up an arrow? Because we were shooting with Kyle and his 2 buddies. There's 5 of us in our group.
I think one of them did, because you could either the head, a tree, a little bit of the midsection, a tree, or the butt.
Yeah.
I hit the butt. I was happy. I hit foam.
So I said, okay, 74, pull back, anchored. I laid the bubble right on the top of the back of the ram, centered it up between the 2 trees and let it fly, and caught it. And I couldn't believe it. That was the best shot of the day.
Right,
man. I was so ecstatic that I hit that thing and actually scored on it. So, but I hit all 4 targets like that. I mean, it was 4 in a row, and I just kept laying the bubble up there and using my bubble as a sight. So that was pretty cool.
Guys, you target shooting 60 yards. What is the farthest you will shoot hunting? Okay, so my target bow, I can shoot up to 80 yards, but comfortably hunting, probably 60.
Yeah, my target bow, I can shoot out to 100 yards. Actually 100 plus, but I've shot it only at 100 yards.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable shooting out to 100 yards, but on an animal, probably 50 for me. I have no problem taking a shot that long. Well, last year, I took that shot, what we call the Matrix buck. It was 44 yards, the one that jumped my arrow. And we're going to talk about that in 2 weeks.
Yes, Charles Byram. You got to tune in 2 weeks.
Because we're talking with G5.
We're going to talk to G5, and we're going to talk to him about the question and the discussion we had about
at
the
TAC.
Bug.
Yeah, we talked about it at TAC.
And I flat out asked him, and he flat out answered me. It was kind of nice.
So we're going to get an answer on that and talk about that on the show. And if you don't know what it is, I'm telling you, you're going to want to tune into that show.
Right, exactly. So Dane Anderson, 50, 60 yards, definitely if you, with a rangefinder that has the angle adjustment on it that tells you exactly what to shoot. And if you're comfortable shooting, I feel comfortable because I got the sight tape going, and I feel so much more comfortable just dialing it into what I need and letting it fly.
I'll tell you, let's hold that for further discussion. Let's go ahead and take a break, come back, because I want to expand on this just a little bit. So we're going to step outside. We can take our next break, and we'll come back right after this.
PSE Archery has always dominated the speed category. Now, the most revolutionary cam system ever to hit the market has perfected the shooting experience. Introducing PSE's Evolve Cam System, featuring extremely high let-off capabilities and the smoothest draw cycle in history. No other cam system has ever delivered this level of total comfort and total control. Experience PSE Experience performance.
Welcome back, third segment of the show. When we left off, we're talking about shooting maximum distance of what you're comfortable shooting at. Danny, he's in that 50, 60. I'm at 50. I'm at a solid 50 for sure. In this weekend, as well as shooting at TAC, this weekend we went out and we shot 3D course yesterday.
Yeah.
And, Danny, he runs a single pin fixed. His is a slider. He's got micro adjustable on his, and he's got the sight taped the whole 9 yards. With mine, I'm running a 5-pin fixed sight system. So I'm 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 on my pins, and anything in between I'm pin gapping. And it on an animal, that's what I was shooting yesterday. The biggest adjustments I have an issue with is making those 32, 33 yards, 37, 38 yard shots. Those in-between shots that are in between the 5 yard and the 10 yard mark. On a pin gap, when you start getting out to distance, you're even with a 0.19 pin, you've got quite a big gap at that distance. It's not like you can put the pins on the top of the back and the bottom of the animal, like you could at like a 20, 30 yard shot. Once you start stepping out, that animal gets a lot smaller. And that's where I have those issues.
Right, exactly. And one of the things, like my slider, typically I run with like you do, but I just grabbed my slider off my other bow and put it on my hunting bow this year.
Okay.
And I'm going to go with it. So I got to have my rangefinder. I'll go out, when I go sit out there, I'll range find different areas so I know the difference.
Right, yep.
And then it's just one of those things. It's just practice.
I want to get some of those buck baits stakes and use them this year and put them out at different distances so I know. I mean, that I always mark trees and things like that. But my question to you, Danny, is by running a sight system like that, are you worried, because I usually have my rangefinder in my pocket or on a lanyard where I've got quick access bang range,
Yep.
So I'll range the deer, and then I know, okay, if it's 45 yards, I'm going to pin gap, a 50 to 40 yard shot on the animal. And I just pull up, get the pins on where they need to be and let it rip, whereas you're going to have to make those adjustments. Are you worried about the animal hearing those click adjustments or not?
No, because mine's a silent slider.
Okay.
There's like the one Gina was using yesterday. You could hear the clicks, but no, mine's a silent slider, so it just slides and then you lock it down.
Okay.
So what my plan is, to finish that thought out, is I'm going to set it at probably 25 or 30.
Right.
And then start from there.
Right.
And
right.
see how it all works
out. Okay. Mark Coleman come up with a great question. How does wind and rain affect your shots at those longer distances, and do you compensate for it, yes or no? Actually, if it's high wind day, I won't hunt. I won't go out in the stand and spend a day out on a blow day. Rain, I don't like hunting in the rain either, because when I'm shooting archery, you're going to be tracking an animal, and I don't want the blood trail washed away. So
agreed.
Usually those two situations I won't set in a stand and burn. I mean, I'll actually burn the day.
Right.
That's just me personally.
I totally agree, because I don't like hunting in rain.
Yeah.
A slight mist, I guess, is okay, but downpours, forget it, because once that blood trail goes away, it's very tough in the fall.
Yeah, and the other thing is, if it's one of them days where it's like, okay, yeah, we got a little rain, we got a little wind, I'm probably not going to be sitting in a tree stand. I'm going to be sitting in a shooting house that I've got access windows to where I can actually shoot my bow out of, and I'm not going to take a shot that long. It's going to be a 20, 25 yard, maybe 30 yard shot at the most. I'm going to draw that effective range in. I'm not just going to launch an arrow for the sake of launching an arrow at an animal.
Exactly. And, okay, so Mark Coleman, thanks to Dan Yassa, 2 years ago at TAC, they have a practice area, 50 targets, up to 112, I think, the line this year. And up the mountain, there's 4 flags.
On each side of the course.
Yep, I'd say it's probably every 25 yards.
Mm-hmm.
And what he taught us, and this was kind of cool, he goes, because we were talking about the exact same thing. You got this line out there at 112 yards. What do you got to do? Well, he goes, watch the flags. He goes, look at the first 2 flags. It's not doing anything. But as you get to the third flag, all of a sudden you start to see the wind changing. And then at the 4th flag, it was even more. So with a system like that, if you've got identifiers at a distance, you can start to see what you need to do, knowing that you're going to be fine for the first 40 yards, but then you're going to have some wind issues the last 60.
Especially if it's uphill or downhill. Look at the leaves on the tree.
Exactly.
If you've got, if you've got tall grass, watch the blades of the grass move and what have you. But even on the mountain, what we noticed, from the one in the middle to the one at the top, the wind direction even changed because of the face of the mountain, the way the wind was running on that. And it really it can affect your shots depending on how hard it's blowing.
And also, as you're watching your thermals, then you got to watch. Is it a sunny day? Is it a cool day? What's the wind doing? And Dan and just he taught us that. It was like I started watching this year, so advanced this year. I was watching that and I was like, wow, look at that.
The one thing I tried to do this year, a little different than I've done in years past, is when I'm shooting long, like anything here at my house, I can shoot out to 90 yards. Between 60 and 90, even at 50, I'll go out on a day where it's pretty windy, and I'll launch arrows to see how much compensation I have to do to make sure I'm still on line. And no, I'm not going to shoot an animal at that distance. But at what distance does it start to affect that flight of that arrow, and at what wind speeds?
I tell you what it does do is with this, even though it's a fun shoot, and don't think you're not going to lose an arrow or you're going to wrap one around a tree. Admit it.
It's going to happen. Because you're taking shots that you'd never take in the field.
Yes, for sure, that's a true statement. And what this does is it adds to your confidence of, I hit that target at 70 yards, or I hit that target at 65 yards. So when you bring it back down to a
25,
50,
30 yard
30, 20, it's like, oh.
Yeah, your confidence level goes a lot higher.
It does, and that's one of the things that this shoot should instill in you is confidence, and it should not. You got to take the side like we just talked about. Yep, I hit a tree. Are you going to shoot at an animal that's gives you a 6-inch between the 2 trees typically?
No.
Probably not.
No, you're not going to. And, most people are not going to take that shot. So that's the point.
Exactly. This challenges you to take things that you are uncomfortable with and do it.
Yeah.
And it is fun.
And just make sure you got some arrows with you.
Yeah.
Because I lost 1 the first day, and I lost 1 the second day.
Yep.
Actually, I'd lost 2. On the very first target, when I pulled back, that was on Sitka, of course, the one where you said you were shooting into that dark forest.
Oh, yeah.
I went to pull back, and as soon as I pulled back, I touched my trigger off and durfed it.
It went flying.
It went flying, didn't even look for it, but I went ahead and took a second shot. But that's the one I lost.
And
one of the ones I lost.
And overall of the event, of the TAC, there was some vendors there that weren't there because of COVID. There was also a vendor there because they were out of arrows.
Right.
They could not get any more arrows from the warehouse, so they didn't come to Michigan. Expect to lose some arrows, but expect to have a good time. Get a group together. Hopefully, we talked with the owner of TAC. We were sitting there. We talked with him. So next year, they're looking at a bunch of things. He ain't making any plans till December to start nailing down dates.
Right.
So hopefully maybe early next year when we can get him on, and we'll see if we can't, see what he's got planned.
You guys get out and shoot TAC, man. If you get one, if it's 2 states away, it's worth the drive. Eric Dabb says, aim small, miss small. Absolutely. And Mark Coleman, layup and free throw versus three-pointer confidence. Exactly. If you're only shooting 20 or 30 yards and that's all you ever shoot, if you don't expand your effective range as far as shooting practice, step out to 40 and step out to 50. Start taking them longer shots, because once you get that confidence level, hey, I can hit that. Maybe it's just hit the target, hit the bail, whatever. And then you step back into 20 and 30. All of a sudden, man, that you start wadding them up. It's amazing what it does for you in your confidence level.
And Eric Dabbs, I have said that for as long as I can remember, seeing it and hearing it in the movie. Aim small, miss small is just a great, always in your head, say that when you're shooting. And I tell you what, it goes a long ways. But TAC is incredible. You guys got to get out there. We're hoping we'll hear early next year when Michigan will be. We'll probably be going back.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you, if you're one of the people here in Michigan, then you want to shoot Michigan, you better sign up the first day, because this year everybody inundated the website so bad it crashed. They sold that whole event out for the weekend in one day. And the only reason we got to shoot this year is because They pushed it back from June until August, and some people canceled. Obviously, they couldn't make the event, and I was on the wait list, and I said, I want to know exactly when tickets go on sale, the leftovers, and that's how we got in. So, Tammy wants to do the...
Tammy, you got to shoot a regular bow, though. Can't shoot a crossbow.
That's right. Yep. You got to shoot a vertical bow.
Yeah, we'll let you guys know. Maybe we can get a whole group to get up there, and we'll have a good time. We stayed at a campground. That was a private campground.
That was a blast.
And it was a blast. It was basically 50% archers and 50% that was doing off-roading. So
yeah, it was a great time.
If we get a group up there and we can get a whole bunch of campsites together, we can get up there a day early, sit, talk, and you're off. Depending on how you want to do it, the last chair goes up at 4 o'clock, and it takes you about 4 hours to complete a run down. So you can do yours, and then if you get back up, you can go up and do another one.
Yeah, we've shot at 11:30, I think.
Yeah, and so, you can make it what you want. We did one a day, and it was fine.
Yeah, we did 6 miles both days.
Yes, so we did 6 miles up and down a hill. It was pretty fun.
It was a blast. Well, I'll tell you what, let's go ahead and take our next break. We come back, we can talk about...
This weekend,
yeah. The shoot and a little dinner.
A little dinner.
Excuse me. Whoa. I think it's coming back up on me there. All right, we're going to step outside and take our last break. We'll be right back after this.
Acceleration is part of PSE's DNA. PSE pioneered the speed movement. Now they've developed the vapor category to help you find the most powerful bows on the market to fit you.
High speed equates to intense power and building the momentum you need to be successful. Are you a vapor shooter? Find out at psearchery.com.
Welcome back, last segment of the show. We got some questions popping in here.
Third segment.
Oh, this is the last segment.
Really?
Yeah.
Jeez, Pete.
Good discussion tonight, man. We're flying.
Oh, man.
So,
we are, I guess. Look at the time, Dan.
Yeah.
Okay,
right.
So, first question. We can both answer this one. From Todd. Hunting, do you prefer fixed blades or mechanical?
Well, Dan and I are on the opposite side on this.
That's right.
Danny's a mechanical guy, and I'm a fixed blade guy. And I'm actually contemplating trying out mechanical this year.
Okay, that's funny because I was going to use fixed blade, but
You were?
Well, I was going to use the new G5s.
Well, that's what I'm going to switch to, obviously, for the fixed blade.
I was gonna look at him when Brian Anderson was on. Mm-hmm. I was gonna ask him about him, so he talks to the people, and then I was gonna see what we could see about. But I definitely will use a mechanical for sure. There's no doubt about it. I've not had any issues with the G5 mechanicals.
Yeah, well, we're going to talk about. I don't want to get too deep into this in the weeds, but we're going to have Brian on in 2 weeks, so come back. We'll talk more about it. But I'm a fixed blade guy. I just if it doesn't move, there's nothing to fail. That's my whole mindset and theory.
Unless it whistles.
Unless it whistles, yeah. Come back in 2 weeks. We'll explain. Adam Wynn just tuned in. Adam, you got to go back and listen to the show, man. We got some good stuff on.
And
tonight.
from Mark Coleman. In your routine, are you a quick release or a draw and hold for a few seconds before releasing?
Yes. To me, it's more about target acquisition. If I acquire target and I'm comfortable with it, I'll let it rip as soon as I pull back. But if not, then I'll hold, and I'll hold as long as I need to.
So that goes along the lines of what's the situation? Is he walking in or she's walking in?
Yeah.
Do you have to pull back behind one tree and wait for another tree for them to cross into a shooting lane?
Yeah.
Or what you got to watch what the situation is, because potentially you could pull back thinking you're going to shoot real quick, and all of a sudden you're hung up and it's like, okay, they stopped.
And that's why I love PSE's Evolve Cam. We're running 90% let off on that. I did that last year on the Matrix buck. I pulled back and held on that buck for probably 30 seconds, maybe 45 seconds before I let the shot go. And it's so stinking easy to hold hold it back at full draw when you're running a 90% let off. Mark Holman, I'm there with you. G5 fix. That's what I'm running. I'm probably going to run the new G5 fixed blade this year, the new Matrix.
And we'll in 2 weeks you'll see what the new one looks like.
That's right.
Or
not Matrix, Montec. I don't know why I say
Montec.
Matrix.
Well, you're thinking of the buck.
I'm thinking of the stinking buck I missed last year. So,
what is a good way to get rid of target panic?
You know what?
You got to practice. You got to practice it. And I'm telling you, I had it yesterday. I still have it to this day. And it's just a mental thing that I got to go through in my head and say, hold, hold, hold. release and not anticipate me really. I did that yesterday. That's when I durfed that one shot.
When I get the biggest time I get target panic, it's not when I have a deer in front of me. It's not when I'm shooting in the backyard. It's when we're shooting dang circles at league. I get target panic. I don't know why, because that's competition at that point. We're shooting for score. We're shooting against another group, and
that's where I really worked on it last year towards the end of the year. And I was literally fighting myself in my head to fix it.
The biggest thing I do when I'm shooting like 3D archery, or if I'm actually out in the field or shooting here in the backyard, I mean, I have it's called the shot sequence. You got a routine. You got to have a shot sequence, and you do the same exact thing every single time that works for you. You build that shot routine. And once you go through that routine, you come to full draw. It's you don't think about gripping the riser. You don't think about where your hand goes on the release. You don't think about your anchor point, because you've done it so much, you're there. It becomes part of you. And at that point, the only thing I'm doing, I'm staring down range, I'm looking at the target, whatever I'm shooting at, and I wait for that pin to get where and start to float where it's at. And my thumb, because I use a thumb release, it just goes off.
Right, exactly. And you're right, Eric Dabbs. If it's a buck, don't focus on the headgear.
Nope.
That's where you get people shooting at the
antlers.
But yeah, you're right. It's always that shot sequence. We do it whether we're shooting indoor or actually when we're doing it outdoors as well. You've let down, I've let down. It's just like...
And don't be afraid to let down.
Yeah.
Don't force that shot.
Or don't force the shot and then yell at yourself after.
Right.
Right?
Because I do that a lot too.
So fixed blade for my bow, mechanical for my crossbow. Never had a mechanical fail on the crossbow. You know what? That's awesome to hear. I don't know which ones you're using, Adam, but there is some out there that I've heard issues with. So keep using them.
We did a broadhead test back in year 2.
Yeah, I think it was 2000.
And actually, Brian Anderson came over from G5, and we had, I want to say, like 10, 15 different companies that we had broadheads from that actually submitted stuff to us, and we were shooting ballistics gelatin with bones in it, and we were doing a lot of funky stuff with it, and some of the results were really surprising.
The Hooter shooter.
We were using a Hooter shooter.
That's right.
We borrowed it from G5.
Right, exactly. So, so target panic, you just got to work on it. I know Mike and I have got the thumb releases, and we got springs on them to help with that, to feel it. And
yeah, instead of the solid barrel.
Yeah,
I don't. Mine's in my bag right now, but yeah, it's got a spring, and it's more about tension than it is about pressure.
Exactly.
Constant pressure.
And master the involuntary repetition. You're right. It's like bowling. Grim Rapier and Spitfire. Okay. So that's that. But we had a shoot yesterday, which we had a great time.
Absolutely.
Thank you to Billy Hoffman. Did a great job.
That shoot at Land O'Lakes.
Badger.
They call this the Fenton area attack shoot.
Which it was. It was definitely up and down.
It was a nice shoot.
It was a nice shoot. It was a good shoot.
I like getting off the trails, and they made you meander through the woods. I mean, actually up and down the ravines and stuff. It was a good shoot.
It was. You did a great job. Excellent. Hats off to you. It was sunrise. We'll have to talk to Derek to find out how overall it went for him and see how they're doing. Because I think he was at the shop. I don't know if he was able to get out with his youth. I don't know.
And happy birthday to Derek, by the way, which was this weekend.
Absolutely. So, and then, I tell you what, after the shoot, we headed out because we were invited to a walleye fry. Thanks to Todd and Tammy. For Todd, that fryer was frying.
That was some good eats right there, my people. I'm telling you,
And for those of you that's on the podcast, you got to watch the show to see the amount of food in this fish. I call it a fish bowl. That's pretty good. They had walleye. They fried it up. They had fries. They fried them up, real fresh cut, and corn. And
desserts.
They had desserts from
all kinds of goodies.
Out of a 20-foot table, the first 10.5 feet were desserts.
We were eating as we went down the line.
Yeah, we did.
Fill our plate full, and it started eating as we got to the end.
Right, exactly. And it was so good. Thank you very much to you both for inviting us out there. We had a great time.
This was the best part of it right here.
And
this photo,
which you can't see on the podcast, is what Tammy refers to as her fish bacon, otherwise known as fish cheeks on a walleye.
I had somebody ask me if fish cheeks were a real thing, and I'm like, yes, they are. And it was just They're good. Oh, they're good. They're good.
Tender. They're like little
bacon bits.
And they are so good. And you guys did a heck of a job frying that. Everybody that worked on that cookout last night did a fantastic job. So hats off to you guys. Thank you very much. And when you do it again,
let us know. keep us informed because
Lake Bacon. That's it.
Lake Bacon. There you go.
You're right, Tammy.
That was good stuff, man.
It was. It was good. We actually went back for seconds.
Mm-hmm.
So it was good. We man, there is nothing better than fresh walleye, fresh perch, fried. Oh,
bombdiggity.com, man.
Yeah, it was good. So walleye cheeks are the best from Eric Dobbs.
Yeah,
almost like a scallop. Yeah, pretty close.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it.
So that finished out last night, and then it brought us to today, and here we are back. And so you've now caught up on the last 3 weeks, actually, of what we've been up to.
Yeah. Mark's got another good question. What do you do as a pre-shoot prep? Do you stretch, inspect arrows in the bow, do you, drink certain fluids, pep talk mentally? Basically, I get all my gear together. I go through my bow, put my stabilizer on. I'm very anal about the angle of my back bar. It's got to be in a certain position when my hand touches the riser to keep my bow balanced. And the very next thing I do, I go out to the practice range and I shoot and I shoot and I shoot until I'm happy with where I'm shooting. And it might take 5 arrows. It might take 25 arrows. And actually yesterday when I got out there, because when we were at TAC, I was consistently shooting just a touch low left.
Oh, yeah.
So when I got to the range yesterday, first 5-6 shots, low left, I actually went back to the Jeep, grabbed my wrenches, and I started wrenching on the bow and working on the sight. And I made 2 adjustments on it, and then I jumped down to the 40-yard range and started pounding the center. I'm like, good to go. I don't know how many shots I shot, but I got to that point where I was ready. I'll drink a little bit of coffee. I don't like to drink a ton of caffeine before I shoot because I've learned when I shoot league, it really messes with my head. This guy gets
a little jumpy.
Yeah, it really messes with me. So I try to stay away from the caffeine. I take some water with me.
And we pick up chicken sandwiches.
Yeah, chicken sandwiches. Yeah, that's on the way to leagues. But I'll take water with me out on the course. Also take Cliff Bars with me. Yesterday, about 2/3 of the way through, I hadn't taken a drink of water or anything, and it wasn't warm or anything, but it was comfortable. But I bent over to tie my shoe or something. When I stood up, I almost blacked out because I hadn't eaten all morning. So first thing I did, I grabbed a Cliff Bar, powered that thing down real quick, and got the sugar going again, and got back on course, and rocked it out to the rest of the way. So it's just keeping some stuff with you, I think, is important. Keeping hydrated, keeping your mind fresh, those types of things. Stay away from the caffeine when you shoot. Although when I'm in the tree stand and I'm deer hunting, I have a thermos of Hunter's Blend coffee with me.
So
always.
I usually, for hunting season, I don't like to get up and rush my way out the door.
No.
So I get up, have a little bit of coffee, and I might have a banana. I see what's around for breakfast, and I'll snack, and I'll kind of sit on the couch and just mentally ease into it, thinking what I got to do, where am I going to sit, and run through it in my head. As far as stretching or anything like that, not really. Definitely look over the bow as I'm pulling it off the rack. Arrows are ready to go. Usually the bow inspection and arrow is done the night before because we're all geeked up to get ready to go, just to make sure everything's ready. And then from there, it's when I get out in the field, it's then you just running it through your head. What ifs? What if this happens? What if this there comes from this way, that direction? And just try to prepare myself for anything that might happen.
Do you take a backup bow with you to camp?
No.
I usually do. I've got another bow that's set up and ready to go, and I usually carry just in case you get a string that pops. Especially if I'm gone for more than just a weekend. If it's a week hunt, even in rifle season, I take a backup rifle.
I do that.
I don't
know why.
Muzzleloader season, I take I've got another muzzleloader I take with me. I always try to take backup gear with me in case something happens.
In case you miss something, you wrap it around a tree.
That's
potential.
Potential at times, yes.
So yeah, is there hunting morning? I don't rush either. Got to have my morning poop.
Nice. Yep.
Nice.
You don't want to be caught in the tree stand, especially if you sit out all day. And I tend to sit out all day.
Bow hunting season, I don't necessarily sit out all day. We'll sit a morning hunt, come back, figure out. We'll try to do some work in the morning, and then go sit out for the evening, depending on how it's going.
It depends on what stand I'm in.
Yeah,
and what the weather's doing.
And then when we get into November, then we kind of start pushing harder because we know we're in the rut, so it's a little different ball game.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, it depends a lot of times on the time of year, what's going on with the weather. I mean, I'll actually get up and move from one stand to another in the middle of a hunt if the wind direction changes. You know, if I know something's coming, like a front's coming. You know, I look at all them things. But usually in the morning, I'm up early. I'm watching Weather Channel or looking at a weather app, what direction's the wind blowing, picking out where I'm going to hunt. You know, making all those types of things run through my head, having a cup of coffee, getting my snacks ready to have in the stand for the day.
Yep.
And
then we all wish each other good luck, and we usually disperse out into the woods and wait for that text.
Yep.
Unless you're, depending on what blind you're on, I do have a blind you're kind of in no man's land.
Eric says, TMI,
right?
The morning poop.
Yeah, I like that. That's a good one. So, yeah, so, you know, from testing yourself on long distances to target panic to a routine, you just got to do it. You gotta
launch arrows, man.
You got to practice it. You got to
launch arrows and launch as many as you can throughout the year.
And that is a great one with all these youth seasons going on, is getting them involved in that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whether it be shooting a crossbow, a rifle, or a regular bow. It's teaching them and just going through everything, and, you know, teaching them your method, or having them, maybe it's a favorite hat that they have or something like that.
Keeping the family involved, keeping the kids involved, getting people outdoors, sharing it with new people, all that good stuff. So
yep.
Well, I tell you what, we're bumping up here at the end of the show. So you know, for those of you on the podcast here, we're going to wrap things up. You know, as we always say, you know, go over to our social media pages, give us a like, give us a follow, give us a share the show if you would. Go over to YouTube. We re-release the video portion on Wednesday for those of you on the podcast that maybe don't have Facebook, because there are people that don't have Facebook.
And if you go over to YouTube, subscribe to us, please. That's just helping us show whoever we have on or whoever we're talking to, say, hey, we got subscribers. And ever go hunting without your cell phone?
Not anymore.
I
don't.
Not now. Before, I can remember there was a time we didn't have cell phones, and basically they were useless out there anyways if we did.
Yeah, I've got cell service now, so yeah, I rock with mine. But
and it's a camera.
Yeah, but I'll expand on that here just as we wrap up the podcast portion. So yeah, go over to our supporters page. Go over and check out their websites as well. They help us, so you in turn, please go over and help them out. You know, make a purchase if you can. Don't forget the promo codes that we had at the beginning of the show. And if you listen to us on iTunes, give us a review over there. That helps us out as well. So for those of you on the podcast, remember, we'll be back again next week. We're going to have walleye fisherman on the week after that. Then that guy's from Yamaha, right?
Yep.
And then the week after that, we're going to have Brian on from G5. Y'all take care, and we'll see y'all again next week. This episode was brought to you by PSE Archery,
Buck Bait,
Better the Hunt,
Rebel 6 Rubs and Seasonings,
Easy Cut,
Limb Walker Game Calls,
Sunrise Archery,
Total Heat,
Hunter's Blend Coffee,
Packer Max,
Fourth Arrow Camera Arms,
Scent Blocker,
Scent Lock,
Copper John,
and Stanislawski Release Aids.
Thanks for listening, and join us again here next week. Until then, remember, as we always like to say, if you're out on the water or in the woods, shoot straight and be safe until next week on the Up North Journal.